Welcome everyone to one more edition of the Jamnabai Narsee Education Series. This was undertaken by the three Jamnabai Narsee schools under the umbrella of the Narsee Monji Educational Trust, with the intention of being able to cater to the interests of the parent community at this time of the lockdown that we are all experiencing. We have been fortunate to have been able to listen to speakers offer their expert ideas in a wide range of subjects, which included finance, investment, spirituality, leadership, health, well-being, nutrition, and whatnot. What we have lined up for you today is also something extremely interesting, rather unique in its idea, and you will get to hear more about it in just another minute. Please bear with us. We're just waiting for our eminent speaker to be able to log in.
A very good evening.
Good evening, Mr.
Good evening.
Without any further ado, may I start with the...
There's some hitch. I can't hear you.
Am I audible to you now?
You're audible.
Aditya, can you hear me?
Absolutely, miss. Absolutely audible.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Once again, welcome to everyone who's been able to join us for the 16th edition of the Jamnabai Narsee Education Series. Undertaken by the Jamnabai Narsee schools under the umbrella of the Narsee Monji Educational Trust, we have been blessed to have been led through varied topics by eminent speakers, all of whom have generously spent some time in fanning the flame for more knowledge about and understanding of the subjects they are experts at. For the provision of this, at this particular time of the lockdown, we owe our abundant gratitude to Mr. Sujay Jairaj in particular and the rest of the management of NMET. I, Sonali Gandhi, your host, am proud to introduce the moderator for today, who will in turn introduce the speaker and his topic. Aditya Madnani, an alumnus of the ISC batch of 2017, is pursuing his undergraduate studies at ISME and is studying the Business Management and Entrepreneurship program. He currently holds the position of Student Council President, which comes as no surprise given the many hats we have witnessed him wearing with ease while at Jamnabai Narsee. In late 2017, he launched the Alpha Urbane Project, a youth opportunities to several middle and high school students and all United Nations. Without any further ado, over to Aditya.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sonali. It gives me an immense amount of pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker for the evening, Mr. Jimmy Mistry. Mr. Mistry is the chairman and MD of the Della Group, the founder, designer, and operator, Della Resort. creator of experiential hospitality, data. Mr. Mistry, using design thinking as a management tool, has innovated and set up India's first extreme adventure theme park. 6 theme-based resorts, including India's first military-themed resort and counter-terrorism training academy. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. It gives me immense pleasure to let our attendees know that as recently as last week, Mr. Mistry attended a panel discussion and spoke at a panel discussion alongside Mr. Ratan Tata on slum redevelopment and the way forward in India and the future of design and construction. So thank you so much, Mr. Mistry, for joining us today. The topic that you have chosen, of course, is pioneering experiential hospitality. And I'm sure all our attendees are all ears and waiting to listen to you.
Thank you, Aditya. Very good evening to all of you. As we begin this, it is more of a knowledge sharing platform. Whatever I have learned in the last 12 years of being in hospitality and developing a new business out of an adverse situation. So currently, it seems very similar to what happened in 2008. We had a financial crisis. This is a far more bigger black swan event than what we had then. But in every calamity, there can be an opportunity. And I firmly believe in that. An opportunist always looks for an opportunity in every calamity, and a pessimist will never be doing that. So 2008, when the recession occurred, we were already into the peak of our business in interiors and turnkey interior design, architecture, master planning, and we were doing projects across India. When these projects tumbled down and suddenly things started shutting down, at that point in time, we had something around 1,600 odd employees, and we would have to lay off about 650 of them if we would not quickly don our thinking hats and think of something else to do. At that point in time, took time off and realized there was something that I always wanted to do, which I was very passionate about, which during my travels and trips across to Europe, I'd seen, but never understood as to why in India it doesn't happen. In fact, at that point in time, I used to be a designer architect for the Sahara Group. I remember doing a presentation to Sri Subrata Roy Sahara. That was way before 2008. I think it's somewhere in 2006 to put up an adventure park. And whatever I'd seen across was recreation of the mind, body, soul. And that didn't come up in India due to our good luck at any point in time. At that point, we realized there was a scope to do, bring in recreation for mind, body, and soul, starting from simple things like dirt bike track, simple things like horse riding, simple things like walking the dog in a park that I'd seen in Africa on one of my vacation tours. A lot of these things were very simple, but they were non-existent in the country. And for me to get them all under the same roof would have been an excellent opportunity for people to come out with their families, and there would have been recreation for the entire family. So we got together and said, how can we put these people together? We had just started a small villa project. That was our first second home redevelopment project in Lonavala. And very near to the redevelopment project, very near to the villa development project, we managed to look for a piece of land. Got the horses there, got the dogs there, got the ATVs, dirt bikes, and started employing people who were passionate about doing what they thought would be a dream career come profession together. So we got in mountaineering specialists, we got in people who are fond of animals, we got in people who are fond of automobiles, we got in people who are fond of mountain climbing, zip lining activities. And soon enough, we sat down as a team together and came up with one activity after the other. And then it was a free-for-all. It was every day we would have sessions and sessions and roll out things together. Can I have the presentation? So I will just take you through this entire experience of experiential hospitality, how it developed, which I'd never thought of. And okay, Aditya, you will have to share the presentation. Give me the rights to share it.
Absolutely. I could please request Santosh sir to facilitate that. can request the technical team to please help us get the rights to share the presentation.
Okay, presentation, na?
Yes, please, sir.
Just 2 minutes. Okay, just click on the share screen.
So, Mr. Mistry, we're ready. You can just hit the share screen button and the presentation will be displayed.
Okay, you guys can see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so like I said, turning adversities into opportunities. In 2008, and we started working on it. We got 650 of our people slowly moving into Lonavala and brainstorming and putting in ideas together. And the same people who are doing our interior projects, architecture projects, structural engineering works, all of them put together. So that's where in 2009, we set up the first adventure park. Activity after activity developed. We had never imagined the whole thing to be the way it is, but we got in zorbing, we got different kinds of zorbs together. We got in mundane activities like paintball, but we got interesting activities like a zip line. We realized that with the adventure park, we needed some kind of an accommodation if you were to attract people to come and stay there, and corporates to come and use the adventure park and facilities, and family to come and use the adventure park and facilities. We came up with a different kind of concept. We realized that setting up a resort would not be our forte, but if the resort were to be different, then the idea and theme of a tented resort was born. And we put up the first 30 rooms of Camden Resort, which even today remains as the most occupied facility. The Camden Resort was set up on the edge of a mountain. Using our design thinking hats, we tried to get what was not available in the country. In Rajasthan, there used to be Raja Maharaja tents and very colonial style tents. We put up a very contemporary resort and very Philip Stark kind of a design in sync with the canvas of the area. This is a modular tent structure. So at all points in time, we are using design at the forefront to create businesses and opportunities. This entire tent is created with 0% wood. It's all modular steel structure, fiber cement boards. And it's been more than now almost 11 years that this resort has been in operation. We moved very quickly, learned from our mistakes, and got to organizing one thing after the other. And by now, before we could realize, we were full-fledged into hospitality, and our primary business became hospitality with the success that we had achieved. We made a project report, approached the bankers, and put up our first plan to 2 more resorts. 50-room luxury resort, which is what you're seeing here, and another 44 rooms adventure resort. So this is the luxury resort. Again, at this resort, we implemented everything that we had learned in our designing careers and did every single thing that we would be fascinated with for doing, and in turn attracting people and what they saw. We changed the format of these rooms. So if for those of you who've been there, realize it. We believe, I've always loved large bathrooms and spaces. So the room of the hospitality format of these rooms was changed, and it is now a acceptable format for a lot of other branded resorts and hotels within the country. We increased the size of the bathroom, got in the walk-in wardrobe inside, and made the room out. Next slide. That's the adventure resort. So adventure park at the adventure resort, we very early realized that we need to make hospitality theme-based. This was a learning period when we were realizing that a Camdela theme worked very well, a luxury theme worked very well, and an adventure theme would work next to the adventure park. So the people would not be getting bored of coming to the same place. We have a lot of regular guests who keep coming to us 3 to 4 times a year. And it kept growing. So we did about 60% occupancy when we had one resort. We put up the second resort, we thought it'll drop down, but the occupancy remains constant, and hence the demand for more rooms. We developed a villa complex by that time, which is the first Della Enclave phase 1, as we called it. Here we realized we needed more rooms during the wedding season. So after having 3 resorts, we still added another 44 rooms in these villas. Recently, we've added one more resort, which is known as a Garden Villa Resort. We've added 80 more rooms. Each of these resort rooms and resorts are having a theme and concept of their own. So it was a new thing in hospitality that people had experienced. Usually, hotel properties have one theme, and all the number of rooms, no matter how many they're all on that theme. And then they have categories of rooms. We had redefined this entire structure upside down. Within the same facility, we had made sure that there are different theme resorts, and yet luxury points were added to it. Again, it became 2016, we were growing, and at that point in time, we realized that there was need to implement whatever we had learned in our designing careers in the last more than 20 years, and come up with a new business which didn't exist in India, is to design products and supply them rather than design interiors. To implement it, we did a case study, and we did the first prototypes and designed our suites. So every product in these suites are on different themes, and every product used in these suites were products designed by us that in a later part of our career, we're going to launch through a retail store. So in these last 5 years, we've designed so far about 2,500 products. That's a presidential suite. It's on a Versace theme. Then we've got a Roberto Cavalli theme. We've got a Fendi theme, Armani. And with these themes, we realized that there was a huge amount of demand. A lot of the guests wanted interiors like these. That prompted us to, in the later part, recently go ahead and put up a 50,000 square feet showroom. Here we had collaborated with Yadro and used Yadro with pieces of furniture. That's Roberto Cavalli. We innovated a few things within hospitality industry. Didn't actually innovate them, but yes, within the Indian context, we innovated them. I always used to travel across the world and wonder as to why spas are not open at night. Professionals, business community, and predominantly likes of people like me who like to unwind in the middle of the night. Creative minds usually prefer the night, I believe. And we started with the concept of a 24-hour spa. We started the concept of 24 hours of fine dining. I used to go to 5 stars coffee shops invariably and have the same stale menu, the same stale biryani, sandwich, a salad, nothing more. And the tandoor would be shut. Anything specialty would be shut. So I realized, why can't we have a separate team of chefs at night and open up the whole menu at night? So we started with the concept of 24-hour fine dining. Our entire menu would be on. And so these are some of the things that we did. Through the period of time, we kept putting up banquets after banquets and designing. I love designing, and I love designing for myself, where I was not answerable to a client or the cronies of clients that come along with it. We by now are a 271 room property, 6 resorts. We've got 7 restaurants, 3 lounges, 11 indoor banquets, about 13 outdoor venues, 20 swimming pools, 2 public pools, 32 gardens. We started manufacturing our own chicky and fudge. So all these things put together was creating very, very gentle ripples within the hospitality fraternity. And the New York Stern School of their final year MBA graduation students put up Della Resorts as a case study. And they came and spent a day with me. It was a feather in our cap, but especially coming from a person who's never gone to a university. I'm not a qualified architect or a designer. I'm a great proponent of self-learning. And that is what was interesting, how somebody who's self-taught can move across businesses, starting from design to development with second homes, and come into hospitality and create a benchmark in hospitality, innovate an adventure park and adventure business that didn't exist in India. So then during this time period, again, 26/11 had happened. I was at Taj in Chambers at about 5:30. I left from there, and then the attacks were to conclude. This had left a deep, deep mark in my mind, and I wanted to do something with it. Again, we donned our design thinking hats, and we created yet another business, which is a counterterrorism training academy, a military themed resort, straight out of my dreams into reality, where we would achieve a couple of purposes together. That's Data, our 6th resort. It's 27 rooms in the middle of the forest in deep jungles. It's landlocked. You can't get there besides our Army 4x4 trucks. And during monsoons, get onto a pontoon because it's waterlogged. We ended up achieving a couple of things. My purpose of taking revenge for 26/11 happened with this setting up of the resort and training every person over here. If they were in a terrorist attack, how would they increase their chances of survival? So it is not a fitness training. It is not a boot camp, but it is training of the mind, training in mental dynamics and training in techniques that you can remain with you for life. Our mission was very simple: igniting passion for the country. At all points in time, I've always displayed very proud, right from the beginning of my career. In our outside our design office at Grant Road, Slater Road, we used to have an Indian flag displayed. Since that time when we set up Adventure Park, we displayed. And I've been very passionate about our country. And I realized that there is a great need in our country. Our country is filled with patriots. All of us are patriotic by nature, by blood. We all love our country. But unfortunate part is we do nothing to ignite that patriotism. We do nothing to take that phenomenon of patriotism the way Americans do, the way Europeans do, and they really wear their patriotism on their sleeves. In India, patriotism only comes out on the night of a cricket match between India and Pakistan. We abuse the daylights out of Pakistan and we feel that's being patriotic. But we need to do something about patriotism. And this place data has given me the opportunity to create a world of its own where we get a chance to house people, ignite passion for the country, and do it commercially. We also train people. So within the forest, we got in, again, wore our design hats and got shipping containers, designed everything on a theme of military in luxury. So military and luxury doesn't go together. And we successfully managed to bring these two things together. Plus, I am a great believer in sustainability, not from a point of view of certifications, but from the point of view of walking the talk. And we got in shipping containers and we made the entire resort out of shipping containers and tents. So there are no permanent structures. There is no construction. Even the swimming pool is built in a fiber body and then encased in brick masonry. We added more value to the theme. Being a Parsi, I'm a great admirer of Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. Sam Manekshaw, because he won the 1971 war for us from Pakistan, the year I was born. And we made a restaurant in his theme. And that's the restaurant that we've dedicated to Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw and called it Salam Manekshaw. A lot of history into the regiments, a lot of history into awards, trophies. The rooms were designed with great care, using cast aluminum with AK-47 rifles, grenades, bullets. The whole theme is luxury, but in a different sense of the word. And so people never imagined to come to a place in the middle of the forest and have something to this international standard. So then we created a banquet hall for training, where we conduct these training programs for corporates and for families. And we named it after the Maratha regiment because we are in the land of Marathas. Igniting passion for the country and patriotism is what we do throughout our programs of the 2-night, 3-day program of counterterrorism, or 2-night, 3-day program of jungle survival or survival techniques. Each of these programs, you've got the finest trainers. They are all ex-special ops. So they are not the people who've been just ex-army or ex-professionals. They're all special ops operatives. They have each donned a hat of seeing death at very close quarters. They've done counter-insurgency operations in the valley. They've done operations in Somalia. Our task force is led by Lieutenant General Raymond Narona. We are very lucky to have somebody at his level join our organization as a director. Raymond and I are very old friends from Indore, where I did my schooling from. We were next door neighbors. So as soon as Raymond retired, I requested Raymond to join and add more value with his wealth of knowledge. We created the programs to just teach people every single thing that is required mentally to learn how to survive and survive in any adverse situation, which is man-made or natural. It can be a natural calamity like flash floods. It can be a natural calamity like landslides, or a terrorist attack, which is man-made, a lone wolf attack, a team attack, how to understand. So we've got training rooms by the name of Rancheria. We love telling stories via the medium of design. So we love creating themes and narrating the whole story and remaining true to the theme that we've created. So we've got the Rancheria training room. We take people out in the forest in the middle of the night and teach them how to respect the forest, how to love the natural environment. The trainers are, like I said, all ex-special ops. The two of our trainers are the first commandos who were respondents, the first 8 Marcos commandos who were respondents inside Taj before the Black Cats NSG Commandos came and took over. So it's a great opportunity for people to go and interact with them and learn from them. People who saved lives, people who've seen death right in the face and using the techniques of survival. They have survived themselves and they are teaching you these techniques. It's a lot of learning, and I love this platform of knowledge sharing and learning. We've got NSG Commandos, Marcos Commandos, Black Cats, Paratroopers, ID Specialists. We've got them all. Our colonel has spent time in a lot of training, and we've got horses, Alsatian dogs. So everything that goes with the team army. Well, that's just a small history of how in the last 12 years we've created each of these. Yeah. Each of these things couldn't have been created hadn't the adversity of 2008 financial crisis happened. I was lucky that we took it in a positive way. Today, a much bigger crisis is on our doorstep, much bigger pandemic is on our doorstep. The Black Swan event, as the corporate world calls it. And we need to do things to mitigate. We can do certain things which are within our means to do. The biggest factories are within us. It's our mind and our body. And we need to put these factories to use at such a time where our country needs it the most. All of us need to respect the lockdown. All of us need to make sure we prepare ourselves from our mind, body, and soul to go out there, use human-centric solutions. At least we as designers need to have loads of empathy. And I'm sure every human being needs to wear their empathetic hearts on their sleeves and come up with solutions within their own lines of businesses. A lot of disruption is going to happen. It's very apparent and evident. Life is never going to be the same in so many aspects, and yet in certain aspects it'll be post-terrorist attacks. Mumbai was back on its feet, normal, the day-to-day rut people got into. But this is going to be changing things and businesses very, very dynamically. We need to prepare ourselves for this. And as usual with this calamity, we are working on yet another thing that we feel is a fantastic opportunity in this calamity. We've been working on two things. For the last 5 years, we've been working on Della stores to set up a chain of large format interior retail stores where thousands of products designed, manufactured by us are put in ready formats where people can go and pick up the designs as it is, complete solutions rather than products. It is going to redefine the online purchase industry as far as interiors is concerned. In spite of everything available online, but even today you can't buy paints online, you can't buy fabrics online, you can't buy tiles online, you can't buy adhesives online. There is just so much you can't. We are redefining it. We are about to launch this in the next 2 months as soon as we open up. Apart from that, we are working on something very interesting with our entire team. So we put our entire hospitality management team, and we are into brainstorming sessions and Zoom calls every day, innovating, using design thinking principles, human-centered solutions, innovating yet something else which we feel there is a demand and is associated with our line of business. It'll add value to what we do in hospitality. So that's been our short and small journey so far, and the hospitality world has begun to acknowledge it. We've been appointed by the Maharashtra government, the new tourism minister, Shri Aditya Thackeray, to design a blueprint for tourism for the state of Maharashtra and give it a very global flavor. It is our endeavor to make sure that the state of Maharashtra within India is known for quality tourism. That's the new mantra we want to stake a claim to, because there are states and states in India, but not a single state is known for quality tourism. And that's what we want to bring across. So be it shacks on the beach or be it a thelawala selling makkai butta, we want to make sure that we upgrade this entire status. Our forts need a lot of history and storytelling. The way beautifully the Europeans do out of their tourist destinations, we need to apply some of the principles and do it here. We are working with the finest minds in the world, and we hope to get the finest consultants on board. People like Thomas Heatherwick, Heatherwick Studios, the man who designed with Denny Boyle the London Olympics, a lot of the Olympic quadrant there. We're talking to IDEO Design to kind of bring their perspective on global tourism to our Indian advantage. So there's a lot of things that we are working on simultaneously, and we hope in the next couple of years, we are able to really leave a mark behind in experiential hospitality, and India being known as a place for experiential hospitality in the world. Back to you, Aditya.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mistry, for the lovely, fantastic presentation. I'm sure all our viewers have really enjoyed it. At this point, I'd like to request the viewers to start sending their questions through the Q&A box at the bottom of your screens. I have already started receiving a few, so I'd love to shoot them towards you. But in the meantime, I'm going to request the viewers to keep sending in questions. So the first question to you, sir, is you spoke about self-learning and the importance of self-learning in everyday life. And now, of course, given the fact that the COVID-19 outbreak has been so bad and everyone's under lockdown, all of us are compelled to learn and hone new skills at home. You told me about your son and how you decided to homeschool him right after he finished his 12th grade. So can you tell us a little bit more about self-learning, what it means to you, given the fact that our audience is primarily parents and students who have children around the age of your son?
I'm a great proponent of self-learning because I dropped out of my college during my diploma in mechanical engineering, and I never went back. I learned whatever I wanted to learn, and I never felt the need of lacking in a college degree or a university degree. I started off with a very humble background and pest control, leading to contracting, leading to furniture imports, furniture design, manufacturing, and interior design, turnkey design. And then through my career, we've always self-taught and learned each of these, acquired these skills, done a lot of reading, lot of knowledge sharing, a lot of learning by traveling globally, working with global partners throughout. For example, when I started importing furniture from Italy, instead of just being interested in the product sale in India, I used to meet the original designers, studios like Charles Pollock, Eldielo Monelli, Ettore Sozzas. I got a different, exposure to design within Italy, which I would have never got in the finest of design colleges in India. And I always kept dwelling in more and more and more and more. In fact, I used to go attend international exhibitions in those days in Singapore, in North Carolina, in Italy. And I would be a buyer, but I would actually work on behalf of the companies as a salesman, because those days Italians couldn't speak in English, majority of them. They acquired the skill set much later. It's like the Chinese, most of the Chinese are not able to speak in English today. So I would be a salesman for them, but in doing so, I would actually hobnob with them and learn much more. Later part of my years, I started practicing architecture. Yes, there was a lot of learning and studying on my own. A lot of online learning is possible nowadays. And it was a challenge each time I pitched on a project or a competition and won it in competition with a couple of other qualified architects and established design practices. A lot of my design thought processes changed when I learned design thinking in a 3-day seminar with IDEO Design. And that changed my perspective to design. And I started dwelling into design thinking, human-centered design, empathy in design, a lot more consciously. And that was way early in 2007, 2006, 7, around there. So, all of this has been self-taught. I just did a presentation and I shared with you all how I learned hospitality. I'd never run, leave alone a resort, I'd never run a restaurant in my life or a bar. So today we are running with about 1,650 employees, our 6 resorts, and all those banquets and venues. So each stage, it's a learning stage. And I can go on giving you examples after examples. When we started our banquets, we were told that, you have to allow outside catering. Otherwise, Marus will never do weddings at your destination, and Jains will never do weddings because they need their caterers. I said, dude, if we are in this business, we are going to remain true to it. It's okay if they don't do weddings, we will see. So we started really understanding and learning what these caterers are doing and doing one up on them. And today, we have a rule for the last 10 years. We don't allow an outside caterer in our property. And we do the biggest and finest of Maru and Jain weddings. In fact, we are known for Jain weddings. So it's something that you can self-learn. I'm a hardcore non-veg, I'm a hardcore Baba, but we specialize in veg weddings. I mean, it's something that you need to self-learn. Coming back to my son, so my 3 kids, my daughter finished her IB and she did her business management studies here, and she went to London Business School, got qualified there. and she's back working with me. But during this entire process, I was very, very keen that I don't allow my son to do that. I was waiting for him to finish his 12th. And the minute he finished his IB 12th, I wanted him to work with me and learn with me every single thing that I ever wanted to learn without having the dogma on our lives of going and giving an exam and getting grades and passing. Who are you justifying to? I know my son is going to be an entrepreneur in my work, in his own work, whatever he wishes to do. He's never going to work for somebody. And even if he works for somebody, the amount of skill sets that he's going to be learning, he will be the most sought after candidate if he has to ever work for somebody. So we sat down and chalked out a 3-year plan. Anything and everything that you can begin with. So I do a lot of work with China. He started learning Chinese because I realized that I'm not able to learn at this stage, but I want him to learn it. It's going to take him a good 2 years period to be able to converse and help in work or be on his own in manufacturing or whatever else that he wishes to or trade with China. He's learning religious studies. I see all of us in school have not, how much of knowledge do I have on Islam? How much of knowledge do I have on Jews? How much of knowledge do I have on Christianity? I'm not talking in terms of religion. I'm talking in terms of knowledge on the religion. And we need to over and above our own communities, we need to learn about, if you respect other humans, you need to learn about their cultures, their customs, their traditions from a knowledge standpoint. So history of religions is very, very critical, which is what he's doing and learning. Apart from doing Krav Maga and doing other things, he's learning design. So he's learning AutoCAD, drafting, 3D Studio Max, Revit, V-Ray, and that's a whole list. He's learning Photoshop, rendering, presentations. So there is non-stop courses he's doing across. We are in Maharashtra, and I firmly believe we should respect the land where we work. I managed to speak in Marathi to the best of my ability, but I still can't give a speech or a talk in Marathi. And it has helped me a lot in my career. So my son is learning Marathi because in school, what Marathi is learned is not good enough to converse with anybody whatsoever. And that's my problem with education. So if you teach something, they should be able to apply it to their lives. And if they can't apply it to their lives, don't teach it to them. It's a waste of time. So he's learning Marathi. And there's a long list of things that he's learning. Each year, 1, 2, 3, and I've told him that he can quit whatever he doesn't wish to. So far, he's not given up anything. But yeah, it's a great process because he has all the freedom to do. He's learned Microsoft project management. So he goes to the factory 2 days a week in Daman and he tries to schedule production there on his own. I haven't allowed him to get into the day-to-day operations of the business hardcore. He's learning ERP. He's learning a little bit of coding, what we would require as management to know to give requirements and design basis briefs to software development companies. So there's a lot of learning that needs to be done. And once he completes it in 3 years, simultaneously he's doing online courses and he's going to do a course of design thinking with Stanford, which is something that I would want to do at this stage the minute I get my time. But I guess it's going to be a fantastic experiment and I hope it goes successful.
Thank you so much. There's a follow-up question to that actually. We've gotten a question saying, in today's world where degrees are so important, do you think students that are talented but may not have formal architectural background or formal education in this field will still be absorbed for jobs without a degree?
See, it's a mindset. It's all about what you can deliver. And it's not easy. It's a very difficult route. Believe you me, if you had two paths, one is a university degree and the second is a path to self-learn and compete. Believe me, the self-learn and compete is a far more difficult and a riskier option. So if you're a person who's not willing to burn the midnight oil, slog it out, go in for a degree. But let me give you an example. When I did the talk last week, it was a webinar and it was on the future of design with Mr. Ratan Tata as a panelist, Peter Rich, and there were a host of other architects. The organizers who were sitting in US found my profile to be far more apt to get onto this panel with Mr. Ratan Tata. It was a feather in my cap and it was something that I'm going to treasure for a long time to come. I moderate a lot of design talks. All my panelists are qualified architects. So each time I'm there on the panel, my level of knowledge has to be at par or better than them if I have to really do justice as a moderator on that panel. And I do quite a lot of design talks in a year. And it's a regular feature. Most of the design forums have me to moderate the talk or be a panelist on design, and that matters. So it is up to you to take a path, but this is a difficult path. I haven't done any hospitality management courses. I haven't done business management MBAs, but I think we are doing a good enough job in the world of hospitality. In fact, we are adding value to the whole industry now, not just our own hotels and resorts. So it's all about the attitude to self-learn. If a couple of principles are in place, you have the desire to add value to whatever you do, then I think you head in the right direction. If you have a desire to only get into a profession, make money, me, myself, then I think university degrees are best suited for you. But if you have a mindset to go out there and help others and do something for others, you will self-learn anything and everything.
Thank you so much. I think that's a fantastic answer. So we also have a lot of young students, aspiring designers, aspiring entrepreneurs that have logged into this webinar. And I believe I recently saw a picture of your first visiting card at the age of 16. So can you share a little bit about your journey when you started off at such a young age and your message to aspiring designers and entrepreneurs?
I think you either have a fire burning in your belly or you don't. And that's something that a conscious call you need to take. Like I said, the root of fire burning in your belly burns you out. You need to be self-motivated. You don't need to look at for outside motivation to keep you going. I started off with practically nothing. I had to get a Tatkal telephone line at home. I had to buy my own scooter, but it's been fun. My first business card was my neighbor, and we both decided to do small-time catering. And I still remember the first catering job was in Nagpur, NTPC. We managed to get their picnic catering, and it was a great learning experience. It was fun. I never took it seriously. It was always a fun learning experience. And I had decided and made up my mind never to work for anybody. So when I dropped out of college, I came to Bombay and started off with pest control. And so when I was talking to Mr. Tata, I appreciated him. It was not to butter him, but it was out of my genuine respect, because not many people would know. When I started pest control, I was lucky enough to get the pest control for Bombay House, which is where Tatas are headquartered. And I've done pest control in every nook and corner of that building with my own hands. So for me, the respect for that man, I couldn't tell him all of that, but the respect for that man, I've going on the management floor was something great. And going to the boardroom of Tatas and going to the cabin of R&T was like amazing. And KK and all of them put together those days. So you learn from these people. You see how they were treating their employees, their culture, and it's a non-stop endeavor wanting to grow and add value. I've never thought of just doing something for myself. I've always thought of doing it for the environment around me. Even today in Lonavala, where we are present, we are running a school for 160 Adivasi kids. We take care of their lunch. They eat from our cafeteria. All my senior managers are going as regular teachers as a proper curriculum. Our entire adventure park facilities are being made open to these kids. My dream is to make at least 10 or 15 of them become state level champions in various places where we have the resources to train them, teach them. So we are enjoying doing it. It's something that we are really, really enjoying doing it. Another thing we are enjoying doing is employing locals. Most business houses from urban areas, when they go to rural areas, they want to employ contract labor. They don't want to get locals. I love my locals. Whoever I am today is because of them. And even today under lockdown, the kind of support we enjoy in that area is amazing. Absolutely unflinching support. Forget about creating a nuisance. They are my asset. They are my strength. And without them, success is nothing to me. For me, they are my benchmark of success. So for me, that matters. It's always the people around. Even within the design fraternity, even within furniture manufacturing, throughout a period of time, we always wanted to do things where whatever business we are doing, add value in those areas. So I guess the message, if I were to sum it up, let the fire in your belly burn at full steam. You need to get ready to burn your candle not at two ends but at three ends. Make sure you don't burn out in spite of the candle burning at three ends, and make sure you risk it and give it all you got. Believe in yourself. Go ahead and implement it. You're going to fall down. I've fallen down too many times in my life. Even this is not a very comfortable stage, hospitality industry is in a doomsday right now. There's nothing great happening, but I'm positive and pepped up. I'm just waiting for things to open up. And we are going to go with a full force hammer and tongue. I mean, okay, if you're going to be unsuccessful, so be it. But at least we will die with that thing on our shoulder that we tried, and we will hand hold hard and strong to the last labor and worker of our organization.
Great to hear. So that's absolutely great to hear. As you rightly said, that probably the tourism and hospitality industry at this point, due to the crisis, is one of the worst affected industries. And yes, there are several opportunities that do await us. But anything in specific that you're looking at with Della as soon as things get back to normal? What is the roadmap ahead for you?
I guess there are a lot of guesstimations. Everybody is talking about recalibrating, but at what stage do you recalibrate? You recalibrate when you open. You do not know when you're opening. So you do not know whether you're going live on 4th May, you do not know whether you're going live on 15th May. And if the industry goes live, whether it reoccurs, whether we are able to break the chain links that our beloved Prime Minister is doing so hard, people have sacrificed. So it is very, very fluxy right now, depends on so many criteria. But yes, the minute we are allowed to go back, we are already discussing things of how to do a multi-pronged approach and how to make sure that we augment any kind of business losses that we are going to encounter because of large gatherings not being possible, large weddings not being possible, large corporate groups not happening. How will we go ahead and open up a multi-pronged approach and make sure that we get the clientele that we deserve and we give those experiences to our people, make sure how we lead the industry in doing things within hospitality. Everybody's going to be talking about safety, safety, safety within their properties. How can we be differentiating ourselves in those safety aspects? So there's a lot of things that are happening. A lot of hard work is happening. There is no other option but to look for alternate opportunities which will go ahead and prong and fortify your businesses.
Thank you. And the last question for the evening, if I may, you spoke about disruption and of course, design thinking. So your advice to everyone that's tuned into this talk as to how they can apply basic design thinking principles in their everyday life and how can they disrupt their everyday life?
Well, I would strongly recommend a couple of things that they can do. Design thinking is not for designers. So that's the first myth that needs to be understood. Design thinking is for everybody. Design thinking is a set of process that you follow as a problem solving tool for anything and everything that you have. You have a problem at school, you can use the design thinking process and come up with a solution. And that solution, if the process is followed, has to be guaranteed human-centered. And it has to have a lot of empathy. And the minute empathy comes in, you're putting yourself into the other person's shoes and realizing. So I strongly recommend them study IDEO design. For me, IDEO is God. They are right up there with Elon Musk and people who are impacting this world. Study them. Study design thinking in the best possible way you can online. You feel free to, my Insta handle is there. Feel free to shoot any questions that you want, and I'll be more than happy to help you with the answers. Once you start understanding design thinking, you start understanding rapid prototyping for solutions, your whole thought process changes. And then level 2, you see how in your own lives you can apply design thinking in the chosen profession where you want to belong to. And if empathy gets deeply ingrained into you, believe you me, you will be a person with a very high SQ, and you will be a person who will add value to human lives no matter where you are. And the barometer for success of a human is definitely how many human lives you're able to touch, impact, change for the better.
Thank you so much. That was very insightful. If I can now invite our headmistress, Ms. Sonali Gandhi, to take over the proceedings.
Mr. Mistry, I really don't know how to thank you. You beginning with the idea of seeking opportunity in adversity is extremely inspiring. You are a self-taught person, which again is something extremely inspirational. I love the fact that you have hinted at the need of the hour being to work on mental dynamics. That sounds really fascinating. And your very admirable. Excuse me. The dichotomy of luxury and military is again something that has got me very intrigued, and we can't wait for an opportunity to experience all that you have to offer soon enough. Empathetic hearts on our sleeves. You know what? You are not just painting a rosy picture of what is imminent. We know we are up for difficult times, but you have motivated your viewers to emerge stronger in spite, actually, in fact, because of what is the situation. Congratulations on being approached to augment quality tourism in Maharashtra. Given all the many projects you have going, and that too at such large scale, we are tremendously indebted to you for sparing some time for our benefit today. Allow me to share here that at Jamnabai Narsee, education is imparted for life, including functional Marathi that is taught to all our students. Your passion is evident, and that is what we aim to make all our students nurture in their souls, a desire to excel in any and all areas of their endeavor. So once again, with the deepest gratitude, thank you for joining us and making this such an enriching session.
Thank you, Sonali. Thank you, Aditya. It was great talking to all of you. Thank you, students and parents, for listening to me. I hope I've been able to drive a couple of points that I firmly believe and stand for. You can reach out to me on my Insta handle for anything that you require. And for those of you who visited Dela, I'm sure you can connect. But for those of you who've not, please come and experience and explore Dela Data, ignite passion for the country, take that passion across and ignite the millions and millions of people that you come across in your lives. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya, for being such a wonderful moderator. Thank you to all those who make these webinars possible, particularly once again, Mr.